either younger than us or, passed and retired. So why not? I want to challenge myself. The best always looking to fight the best and challenge themselves, and why not, challenge.
Terence Crawford can't beat him, right? This is a money grab for Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy.
But if you study Floyd closely, like I have, you will notice that he never wastes any steps while he's in the ring.
Terence Crawford reportedly accepted Floyd Mayweather's fight offer during a live interview with Stephen A. Smith. Crawford explained that for him, boxing is about testing limits and taking on challenges no matter how big they are. He emphasized that the best should fight the best, and he is ready to step up once again. With calm confidence, Crawford made it clear that facing Mayweather is another way for him to prove himself and push beyond every expectation.
Businessman, because this is Terence the businessman talking, right? They got to pay the cheddar to make it better, right?
For sure, for sure. All money ain't good money, so you got to know that.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to use the word easy, but at times it did feel like you were, having a really easy time out there. Were you expecting it to play out that way?
Listen, it's never easy,
Stephen A. Smith has always been outspoken in his coverage of sports, and boxing is no exception. When he praised Terence Crawford for becoming a champion in 4 different weight divisions, it was not just a casual compliment but an acknowledgement of an achievement that is rare in modern boxing. In today's era, where fighters often hesitate to move across divisions because of the risks involved, Crawford's ability to dominate at 4 different weights places him in a unique category. Stephen A. stressed that such versatility and dominance establish Crawford as an all-time great pound-for-pound fighter. It highlights not only his physical adaptability but also his technical mastery, mental toughness, and desire to keep challenging himself against increasingly difficult competition.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part.
Roy Jones Jr., a legend who knows firsthand what it takes to reign across divisions, has spoken highly of Crawford's brilliance in the ring. He pointed out that in Crawford's fight with Canelo Alvarez, he demonstrated the ability to borrow from the arsenals of Floyd Mayweather and Erislandy Lara, 2 fighters who had troubled Canelo in different ways. According to Jones, this ability to observe, study, and then apply effective strategies makes Crawford special. It proves that he is not only a skilled fighter but also a sharp student of the sport. What impressed Jones most was how Crawford didn't simply imitate but adapted these techniques into his own rhythm, making them more effective in real time. This adaptability separates him from many fighters who stick to one style and struggle against elite opposition.
As Canelo Alvarez has been a great fighter his whole career, people like Erislandy Lara gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. People like Floyd Mayweather also gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. But Bud is more fierce, more fearsome, and more angrier and more meaner than both of those guys. So if they showed you the blueprint, Bud gonna go out there, take that blueprint, and do even more with it, which is what Bud did. So it was never a question in my mind whether Bud really was going to outbox me, just if he could take the punch. And right away he showed, bam, he could take the punch. So I knew from that point, if he just slow him down, which he did, he'd be okay. Then late in the fight, what other people still didn't see, late in the fight, Bud started hitting Canelo's body. One of those body shots, I think about the 7th or 8th round, hurt Canelo. I was like, whoa. Bud hit him in the right spot then, and he got Canelo's respect with that too. So Bud fought a very, very awesome fight, fought a beautiful fight, very tactical.
Very controlled.
Yes, it was a beautiful fight for boxing.
It was a beautiful fight. Bud got hit with some shots.
He did.
He got hit with some single shots going out. He's going out and Canelo, if he has you trapped in the corner or along the ropes, it's typically 1 to 2 big shots. You know that if you've watched him.
Yep.
So you could tell Crawford, as he was going out, he knew the one shot was coming. And Several times it landed. He even got hit with a two-piece. I don't remember what round it was. Uppercut right hand that Crawford took well. So when you started seeing him absorb the shots, if you're Team Crawford, you don't want him to take that shot. But if you started seeing that, now you know that, okay. And I think that's what gave Crawford the green light to stay there a little bit longer.
He smiled about it.
He smiled about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that smile can be a lie. And sometimes that smile can mean what I think it meant for Crawford, which is, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
The idea of Crawford stepping into the ring with Floyd Mayweather, even in an exhibition match, has sparked intense debate. Critics argue that a fight of this nature might undermine Crawford's legacy. They believe that instead of building on his historic victories, such as dismantling Errol Spence and outclassing Canelo Alvarez, he would be chasing financial rewards rather than competitive glory. This perception stems from the fact that Mayweather's recent career has centered on high-paying exhibition fights rather than meaningful legacy bouts. Analysts point out that Crawford has worked too hard to risk being seen as someone prioritizing money over history. On the other hand, others argue that Crawford's legacy is already secure, and if he chooses to fight Mayweather, it would simply add another fascinating chapter to his story.
For Terence Crawford, it's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy. This is what was being said, right? This is what people perceived. Terence Crawford was just attempting to cash out.
When fans compare the careers of Mayweather and Crawford, the conversation becomes complex. Floyd's resume includes wins against some of the greatest names in the sport. However, critics often point out the timing of those victories. Canelo Alvarez was still young and inexperienced when he faced Mayweather, and Manny Pacquiao was injured during their much-anticipated fight in 2015. Furthermore, Floyd's unwillingness to grant rematches, particularly with Pacquiao, left lingering doubts for many fans. By contrast, Crawford's dominance has come against opponents who are considered at their best when facing him. This comparison fuels endless debates on whether Mayweather's perfection in the ring was more about skill or about calculated timing and matchmaking.
Floyd Mayweather is still greater than Terence Crawford. We need to really talk about this now. A lot of you guys are putting Crawford a bit too high. If you want to say Crawford could beat Floyd, I'm more open to that conversation, but when you're lining up the careers, I'm going to say Floyd every time. While they're both 5 division, Bud has become 3-time undisputed, but he's only fought 10 world champions to Floyd's 25 world champions. You can't take away the 5 division, 3-time undisputed. In terms of accolades, yeah, he probably gets the nod over Floyd. I say their accolades are about relative, considering Floyd Mayweather won Fighter of the Decade as well. But when you get to the resumes, Pacquiao, Oscar, Canelo, Cotto, Mosley, Castillo, Marquez, Zab, Gotti, Hatton, and Corley. It's probably way more people that this guy just didn't name. And then when you get to Bud's resume, not saying it's just bad, but the only names that's really worth mentioning is going to be Spence and Canelo. It's not a knock on Bud. Bud was not able to make those fights early on in his career. But I got to tell you guys what it is. Bud's resume just doesn't line up with Floyd's. Take their top 20 wins. Bud don't even got 20 wins to really sit here and name. Floyd got a good 20-something plus. Bud probably got about 10 wins that we could really sit here and name. Floyd's still greater than Bud in my opinion.
Tony Jeffries, a respected boxing analyst, has emphasized that Floyd Mayweather's greatest weapon was not just his defense or speed but his mindset. According to Jeffries, Floyd's unwavering belief that he could beat anyone was what made him truly formidable. Even in fights where the odds seemed close, Mayweather's confidence in his supreme boxing IQ always gave him an edge. His ability to read opponents, adapt within seconds, and stay calm under pressure set him apart from other fighters who relied solely on physical gifts. Jeffries noted that this psychological edge, combined with technical precision, made Floyd appear almost unbeatable, and it is why he retired with an unblemished record.
Strong mindset, they're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
And if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of shit.
The boxing community is always hungry for intriguing matchups, and recently one of the most talked about possibilities is Terence Crawford facing David Benavidez. Benavidez brings size, power, and relentless aggression, qualities that present a unique challenge. Fans see this fight as the kind of risk that could push Crawford beyond anything he has faced so far. The speculation continues to swirl, even though nothing has been officially announced. What this debate shows is the longing among fans for high-risk, legacy-defining fights rather than exhibition spectacles that carry more financial weight than sporting value. Crawford versus Benavidez would represent the clash of skill versus size, precision versus aggression, making it a dream fight for many boxing followers.